Welcome to today's episode. In this lesson, we are going to talk about a very important idea: why you should stop comparing yourself to others. Many people, no matter where they are from or what language they speak, spend a lot of time thinking about what others have, what others look like, or what others have achieved. This habit is called comparison. To compare means to look at two things or two people and decide which one is better, richer, faster, or more successful. It is something we all do without even noticing. For example, maybe you look at your classmate and think, their English sounds better than mine. Or you see a friend on social media who seems to have a perfect life, traveling, smiling, and doing exciting things. You might start thinking, why is my life not like that? Or maybe at work, you see someone getting promoted and you start feeling like you are behind. When we compare ourselves to others, we often start to feel unhappy with our own progress. It makes us believe that what we have is not enough and that we are not doing well enough. Comparison slowly steals our peace and confidence. It makes us forget about our own journey, the path we are walking, the progress we are making, and the small victories we already have. But the truth is, everyone's path is different. We all have different starting points, different challenges, and different goals. The person you are comparing yourself to might also be comparing themselves to someone else. No one has a perfect life, even if it looks that way from the outside. In this episode, we are going to explore how comparison affects your mind, your emotions, and your learning. You will learn how to focus on your own progress and how to appreciate your growth without looking at others. The goal of this lesson is simple: to help you become more confident and peaceful by understanding that your journey is your own. So as you listen, just relax. Let the words flow. You do not need to repeat or answer anything. Just listen carefully, learn new vocabulary, and think about your own life while you listen. By the end of this episode, you will understand how powerful it can be to stop comparing and start growing at your own pace. Now, let us look at why people compare themselves to others. Understanding the reason behind this habit is the first step to changing it. In our world today, comparison has become easier than ever. Every day, we see other people's lives through social media, television, and the internet. We see pictures of people who seem successful, happy, and confident. We see students who speak English fluently, workers who have great jobs, or friends who appear to have everything we want. Without meaning to, we start comparing ourselves to them. We think, they are doing better than me, or I am not as good as they are. At first, comparison might seem like something that motivates us. You might believe that looking at someone better than you will push you to work harder. And sometimes, it can. But most of the time, comparison brings more pain than motivation. It often turns into pressure, jealousy, and sadness. Instead of helping us grow, it makes us feel smaller and less capable. This habit often begins when we are very young. In childhood, we are compared by teachers, parents, and even friends. We hear things like, "Look at your brother's grades," or "Your friend is better at sports." These small messages teach us to measure our worth by looking at other people's results. As we grow up, this habit follows us into school, work, and even social media. But here is something important to remember. Everyone's life situation is different. People have different backgrounds, families, opportunities, and challenges. Some start earlier, some start later. Some learn quickly, while others need more time. There is no single path that works for everyone. When we compare, we forget these differences. We look only at the surface, what we can see, but what we see is never the full story. The person you are comparing yourself to may also be struggling in ways you cannot see. In English, there are some useful expressions related to this idea. One of them is keeping up with others. It means trying to match someone's lifestyle or achievements, even when it causes stress. Another one is measuring success. This means deciding what success means by comparing it to others' results. But true success cannot be measured by what others have done. It can only be measured by how much you have improved, learned, and grown from where you started. When you understand that, you begin to see life differently. You begin to realize that comparison is not necessary, and that your progress is what truly matters. Now that we understand why people compare themselves, let us talk about what comparison actually does to us. The hidden problems that many people do not notice right away. The first problem is emotional. When we compare ourselves to others, we often feel jealousy, sadness, or pressure. we might start to feel that we are not good enough or that we are falling behind. These feelings can slowly grow stronger and affect the way we think about ourselves. Even if we are doing well, we might not feel proud because we keep looking at someone who seems to be doing better. The second problem is that comparison blocks our creativity and learning. When your mind is busy thinking about how good someone else is, it has less space to focus on what you can do. Instead of exploring your own ideas or improving your skills, you begin to copy others or doubt your ability. For example, if you are learning English and you hear someone speaking fluently, you might think, "I will never sound like that." That thought can stop you from practicing, even though practice is the only way to get better. The third problem is that comparison makes you forget your own strengths. Every person has something special, a way of thinking, learning, or expressing that no one else has. But when you constantly compare yourself to others, you stop noticing what makes you unique. You start to focus only on your weaknesses and ignore your talents. Another hidden effect is how comparison damages self-esteem, your sense of personal value. When you believe others are always doing better, you start to lose confidence. You may feel anxious about your progress, your job, your looks, or your language skills. Over time, this can make you avoid new opportunities because you fear you are not ready or not good enough. Let us think about an example. Imagine a student who loves drawing. At first, they draw every day and enjoy it. But then they start watching professional artists online. They see perfect drawings and begin to think, "Mine are not good." Slowly, they draw less and less until they stop completely. Not because they lack talent, but because comparison made them lose joy and motivation. This happens in many areas of life: learning, work, fitness, and even relationships. The truth is, comparison rarely helps us grow. It only makes the journey heavier. When we compare, we are judging ourselves by someone else's story. But we do not live the same story. We have different experiences, strengths, and challenges. Once you understand this, you can start freeing yourself from the trap of comparison and begin to focus on your own journey again. Now that we have seen how comparison can harm us, let us focus on a new and healthier way to think, understanding your own journey. Life is not a race. There is no finish line that everyone must reach at the same time. It is a journey, and each person walks at a different speed, in a different direction, and with different goals. Some people reach their dreams early, while others take more time. But taking longer does not mean you are behind. It simply means your path is different. There is an English expression that says, "Run your own race." It means focus on your own progress and do not look at what others are doing. When runners compete, the moment they start looking at someone else's lane, they lose their rhythm and speed. The same happens in life. When you focus on your own lane, your own path, you move forward more smoothly. Think about learning English. Some people can memorize new words very quickly, while others need to hear them many times. Some people are confident when they speak, while others take time to build courage. Both are learning, both are improving, but in different ways. Comparing your learning speed with someone else's will not help you learn faster. It will only distract you from your own progress. The same idea applies to career growth, health, or personal goals. You might see a coworker get promoted before you, or a friend achieve something you also want. It is easy to think, "Why not me?" But you never know what steps they took, what difficulties they faced, or how long they have been working toward that goal. Their timeline is not yours. When you start to understand your own journey, you begin to feel more peace inside. You stop fighting with yourself and start appreciating where you are. You begin to say, "I am learning at my own speed," or "I am improving in my own way." These thoughts bring calmness and confidence. Remember, you are not competing with anyone. You are learning, growing, and becoming better than you were yesterday. That is what truly matters. So as you move forward, remind yourself often, life is not about being first, it is about moving forward in your own direction. Every small step you take is part of your journey, and every part of your journey has value. Now that you understand the importance of following your own journey, it is time to focus on something that will help you move forward with confidence, your strengths. The word strengths means the things you are good at, the abilities that come naturally to you, and the skills that make you unique. Everyone has strengths, even if they do not always notice them. Sometimes they are small, quiet strengths, like being patient, kind, or a good listener. Other times they are clear abilities, like writing well, speaking clearly, or learning quickly. When you compare yourself to others, it is easy to forget your strengths. You might think only about what you lack, the things you cannot do yet. But when you focus on what you already have, you begin to see how capable you truly are. Let us look at some useful English vocabulary here. Abilities, the things you can do well. Talents, natural gifts that make something easier for you. Skills, abilities that you develop through practice and effort. Unique qualities, special parts of your personality or style that make you different from others. For example, if you are learning English, maybe your strength is pronunciation, or maybe you remember words easily. Perhaps your strength is that you never give up, even when lessons are difficult. All of these are real strengths, and they help you grow. When you know your strengths, you can use them to improve step by step. If you are a visual learner, you might use images or videos to study. If you are good at writing, you might practice by keeping a daily journal. If you are good at listening, podcasts like this one can become a powerful tool for you. Focusing on your strengths does not mean ignoring your weaknesses. It means understanding that your strengths are the foundation of your growth. When you build on what you are already good at, you gain confidence, and that confidence helps you work on the areas where you are weaker. Many people waste time trying to become exactly like someone else instead of becoming the best version of themselves. But the truth is, you do not need to be like anyone else. You only need to understand who you are and what you can do well. When you recognize your own strengths and use them every day, you start to see progress more clearly. You begin to say, I am improving in my own way. And that belief will help you continue growing with peace and purpose. Now that we have talked about focusing on your own strengths, let us learn how to look at others in a positive way without falling into comparison. It is natural to notice people who are better at something. You might listen to someone speak English fluently, see a friend who is very confident, or watch someone succeed in their work or studies. The problem is not seeing their success. The problem begins when you start to compare your progress with theirs. But there is another way to look at it. You can learn from others without comparing yourself to them. The difference between learning and comparing is in your mindset. When you compare, you think, they are better than me. When you learn, you think, I can learn something from them. One thought creates sadness, the other creates motivation. There is a useful English phrase, be inspired by. It means to look at someone's actions and let them encourage you to do better. For example, you can say, I am inspired by her dedication, or I am inspired by how he practices every day. Another helpful phrase is take example from. This means to notice what others do well and use it as a guide for your own improvement. When you learn from others, focus on their methods, not their results. You might not be at the same level yet, but you can still study how they got there. For instance, if you admire someone's English pronunciation, instead of feeling bad, you can pay attention to how they practice sounds, how they listen carefully, and how they repeat difficult words. Then you can use the same method in your own study routine. This way, other people become your silent teachers, not your competitors. They show you what is possible and remind you that improvement is a process. Everyone you meet can teach you something if you look with curiosity instead of comparison. It is also important to remember that people you admire were once beginners too. No one starts perfectly. Every fluent speaker, successful worker, or talented artist began with small, imperfect steps, just like you. So when you see someone doing well, do not feel discouraged. Feel encouraged because they prove that progress is possible. When you learn from others in this way, you free yourself from jealousy. You replace comparison with inspiration, and you replace pressure with learning. This small change in attitude can transform how you grow and how you see yourself. So keep your eyes open, but your heart calm. Let others inspire you, but never let them make you doubt your own value. Now that we have talked about learning from others in a healthy way, let us move to something that connects everything together: self-confidence. Confidence is the feeling of trust in yourself and your abilities. It means believing that you can improve, even if you are not perfect yet. Many people think confidence comes only when you reach success, but the truth is that confidence begins long before that. It grows slowly from your daily actions, your effort, and your progress. Confidence is built through practice. For example, if you are learning English and you speak for just 10 minutes every day, your brain starts to get comfortable with the language. You begin to notice that you can understand more words and express more ideas. Every small success tells your mind, I am improving. That simple thought builds real confidence. Another important thing to understand is that confidence does not mean never making mistakes. In fact, confident people make many mistakes, but they do not let those mistakes stop them. They see mistakes as part of learning. When you make an error in pronunciation or grammar, it is not a failure. It is information. It shows what you can work on next. Many learners lose confidence because they want to sound perfect before they speak, but waiting for perfection will keep you silent. True confidence grows from doing, not from waiting. The more you practice, the more you realize that you are capable. You can also build confidence by keeping small promises to yourself. For example, if you decide to listen to English for 10 minutes every morning and you actually do it, you start to trust yourself more. You prove to your mind that you can take action. That trust slowly becomes confidence. Confidence is not about comparing yourself to others. It is about comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. When you notice your own progress, no matter how small, you begin to feel proud. Each small step forward is a reason to believe in yourself. Over time, this belief becomes stronger. You begin to feel calm even when things are difficult because you know that you can handle them. You start to say to yourself, I can improve, I can grow, and I am enough as I am. That is the power of self-confidence. It does not come from other people's approval. It comes from your own effort and from the understanding that you are moving forward one step at a time. At this point in our lesson, you already understand how important it is to stop comparing yourself and to build confidence through your own progress. Now, let us look at another idea that helps you stay peaceful and happy on your journey: gratitude. Gratitude means being thankful for what you already have. It is a simple idea, but it can completely change how you see your life. When you focus only on what you do not have, you feel unhappy and incomplete. But when you focus on what you already have, you begin to feel calm, strong, and satisfied. Many people compare themselves to others because they forget to notice their own blessings. They see what others have: better clothes, better jobs, better language skills, and they think they are missing something. But if you stop for a moment and look around, you will realize that you already have many things to be thankful for. You might have your health, a family that supports you, a home to live in, or simply the chance to learn and grow every day. When you practice gratitude, your mind changes its focus. You start to pay attention to what is good instead of what is missing. This shift in perspective reduces jealousy and stress. For example, instead of saying, "My English is not as good as theirs," you can say, "I am thankful that I can understand more than I did last year." That simple change in thought turns frustration into motivation. There are some useful English words related to this idea. Grateful means feeling thankful. Thankful means showing appreciation for something good. Appreciate means to recognize the value of something. When you learn and use these words, you also learn a new way to think. Try to make gratitude part of your daily routine. You can do this by thinking of 3 things you are thankful for every day. They do not have to be big things. Maybe it is a nice meal, a quiet morning, or a kind message from a friend. When you do this regularly, you train your mind to see the good around you. Gratitude also helps you develop perspective. Perspective means how you look at a situation. When you see your life with gratitude, you understand that every step, even the difficult ones, teaches you something valuable. You start to see challenges as lessons instead of punishments. When you live with gratitude and a positive perspective, comparison begins to disappear naturally. You stop looking at others with envy and start looking at your own life with appreciation. You realize that what you have right now is enough to continue growing, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself. As you continue on your journey, there is one idea that will help you more than almost anything else: the idea of progress over perfection. Many people believe they need to be perfect before they can feel successful or proud of themselves. They want to speak English without mistakes, to always be confident, to never fail, and to always know what to do. But perfection is an impossible goal. No one is perfect, and waiting for perfection only delays your growth. What really matters is progress, small, steady improvement that happens over time. Progress means taking one step forward, even if it is a small one. It means doing something today that makes you a little better than you were yesterday. For example, learning 2 new English words, understanding 1 more sentence, or listening for 10 extra minutes. These actions might look small, but they build your skills and confidence over time. Perfection, on the other hand, can create fear. When you are afraid of making mistakes, you stop trying new things. You might stop speaking because you are scared to sound wrong. You might stop writing because you do not want to make an error. But mistakes are not the opposite of success, they are part of it. Every mistake shows you what to improve next. Every correction is a lesson that moves you forward. There are some helpful phrases in English that express this idea clearly. Step by step means to move slowly but steadily toward your goal. Keep going means to continue even when it is difficult. Every little bit counts means that even small actions are important. These phrases remind you that progress is about effort, not perfection. Think about how children learn to walk. They fall many times before they can take their first real steps, but no one expects them to walk perfectly from the beginning. Each fall is part of the learning process. Learning a language or improving yourself in any area is the same. Falling or failing does not mean you are weak, it means you are growing. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, you start to enjoy the process of learning. You stop worrying about the final result and begin to notice how far you have come. You start to appreciate your effort, your patience, and your growth. Remember, success is not a straight line. It is a journey with ups and downs, with moments of pride and moments of doubt. But as long as you keep moving forward, you are already succeeding. The person who keeps trying will always go farther than the person who waits for the perfect moment. So take things step by step. Keep going. Believe that every little bit counts. Over time, these small steps will lead you exactly where you need to be.